right now on 5 on your side at 10.
A weather first storm alert. Intense thunderstorms stretch from Iowa all the way to Texas right now. They're heading our way. We're tracking when they arrive and the threats that come with them.
Tornadoes, damaging winds, and hail. We could see it all over the next few days.
This is going to be a nightmare.
Tonight, those still recovering from storms just weeks ago are bracing for more damage. Plus, cicadas are back. Should you now be on the lookout for copperheads on their tail? We verify. We start with breaking news out of North St. Louis. Good evening, I'm Mike Bush. Kelly Jackson has the night off. Right now, homicide detectives are on the scene of a car into a building. Police say the man behind the wheel was shot in the head. This is a live look at the scene near Hardy and Davison Avenues. This is just a couple of blocks west of Calvary Cemetery. This is as close as our cameras can get. The building is down that alley. We're working to get you more information, and we'll bring you any new information, any overnight developments on the 5 on Your Side app. We are in a storm alert tonight. Right now, it's all clear in St. Louis. However, the threat of severe weather will move in while you will be sleeping, so it's important that you are weather aware tonight. The same line is already causing damage in Oklahoma and Kansas, 2 states under a high rare risk warning tonight. Tornadoes have been reported in Oklahoma, while apple-sized hail has fallen northwest of Wichita. Those storms should be less severe when they arrive here. Chief Meteorologist Scott Connell is tracking the timing and intensity in our Weather First forecast.
And maybe less severe, but still severe when they come in for many of us early tomorrow morning. It'll come as a big gust of wind, and potentially we'll be looking at not only that, but some spin-up brief tornadoes on some of the leading edge of these storms. Right now, there's a couple of little spot showers in southeast Missouri, but you see there's really 2 kind of lines here showing up out to our west. The ones we're most concerned about, the ones that are here across southeastern Kansas, down here north of Tulsa into Oklahoma. These are the storms that are going to be pushing towards us as this line continues to solidify. And some of these storms, not only have they been producing strong winds, but that storm north of Tulsa, a confirmed tornado with that, along with the very large hail. So how's this all going to work out for us overnight tonight? Well, that line is now congealing and forming basically a pretty solid line, and we expect that to track on to the east as we head through the overnight hours into early tomorrow morning. So by 2, 3 o'clock, it's nudging up for areas just west of Bowling Green, down just to the west of Rolla. As we head towards 3, 4, 5 o'clock in the morning, it's nudging closer to St. Louis. All these little nudges on the front of this where the storm is kind of pushing out a little bit, those would be wind gusts that are out there, and potentially you could get some spin-up brief tornadoes with that. So after about 7:30, 8 o'clock, it's all out of here. What we're tracking tonight, that line of thunderstorms. The timing, 2 a.m. until 8 a.m. The main threats will come in the form of wind. Could be straight line winds, 60 to 70 mile per hour gusts with some of the strongest storms, and potentially an isolated weak tornado. We'll catch you in a few minutes. We'll talk about more of the weather threats that are coming before this week is over, Mike.
And you'll want to keep your phone nearby overnight. The Weather First team will also be here sending alerts through the 5 on Your Side app, and we will be streaming on 5+. You can also text the word weather to 314-425-5355, and we'll send the latest forecast to your phone. While wind remains the biggest concern tonight and into tomorrow, hailstorms are looming as we get closer to Wednesday. And how can we forget that baseball-sized hail that pelted St. Charles County just 2 months ago, causing massive damage to cars and homes? New tonight, Annie Kroll continues our Storm Alert team coverage with how people are preparing for this week's round of severe weather. Annie.
The hail damage on March 14th was some of the worst we've seen in the last few years across the bi-state. Damage especially to homes, not to mention windshields of cars. One car dealer I spoke to said that they lost almost 90% of their inventory in those storms. Baseball-size hail hit the O'Fallon and Wentzville area on March 14th, leaving holes in the sides of homes. According to our meteorologists, some of that larger hail can fall as fast as 20 to 40 miles per hour. At the Travers Automotive and RV Group in O'Fallon, Matthew Fleshman says dozens of their windshields were demolished.
March was absolutely crazy for us.
Under blue skies, though, Monday, this same parking lot looks very different. Now, almost 2 months later, you'd never know the damage they had to go through at their 4 locations.
It hit our RV lot and Traverse GMT Auto West, and it was devastating, absolutely devastating.
Between the RVs and the cars, there were almost 500 units that were destroyed during the storms. But Fleshman says their worrying may not be over, as hail is expected on Wednesday, and there is still nowhere inside to protect their more than 1,500 vehicles in stock from the elements.
This is going to be a nightmare. Unfortunately, there really is no prep work we can do as a dealer. We're just going to have to take and roll with the punches to see how things go.
More hail means even more repairs for auto body shops.
They're still not even caught up. We're still seeing storm teams down the street. Our body shop is still backed up 3 to 4 months, so it's just trying to stay ahead is the biggest thing.
Travers says they can sell some of those cars already on the lots at slightly lower prices to try and get them on the roads before Wednesday's predicted hail comes in. Reporting live in St. Louis, Annie Crawl, 5 on your side.
Developing tonight, SLMPD's Force Investigative Unit is investigating after St. Louis County police officers fired shots in North City. This all happened around 5 o'clock tonight at the intersection of Acme and Lena Avenues, right at the border of St. Louis City and Jennings. That's where 4 armed people, we're told, got out of a suspected stolen car after driving through stop strips. They ran off and officers opened fire.
There's lots of folks in the area relative to a block party down the street. 2 of the individuals disappeared into that group, but no one was injured, no one was hurt.
All of the suspects are believed to be juveniles. Police are still searching for 2 of them tonight. The car they were in was wanted for a string of car break-ins and business burglaries in the county. Tonight, a 19-year-old man is now charged in the murders of a brother and sister in North St. Louis County. The siblings were gunned down at a home on Wardak Avenue. That's just south of St. Anne. 5 on your side's Laura Barczewski joins us now with new information on what led to the violence. Laura.
Mike, I stopped by the family's home on Wardak Avenue again this afternoon. They didn't want to speak with us on camera, but tell me they're heartbroken and grieving the loss of these 2 siblings, Lenijah Cooper and Mark Rhodes Jr.
It was a calm Sunday morning. Many in this St. Louis County neighborhood were about to head to church when suddenly they heard gunshots.
And it's just so sad because, nothing really happens on the street.
Moments later, their street, Wardak Avenue, was filled with St. Louis County police cars. Neighbors I spoke with wanted to remain anonymous for their own safety.
So I told my baby to get down because I didn't know what was going on. And then I grabbed my fiance. I'm like, hey, I think I heard some gunshots. So he ran outside to see what's going on.
Another neighbor saw 2 victims with gunshot wounds laying in the street and tried to help them, grabbing towels and a belt for a tourniquet.
By the time I had already got there, it was too late. There was nothing I could do. They both sustained shots to their side and the organs where there was no putting a tourniquet, nothing. It was already too late.
Police say the victims were siblings, 19-year-old Mark Rhodes Jr. and 20-year-old Lenijah Cooper.
Now, unfortunately, that mother lost her son and daughter.
Investigators say the suspect, 19-year-old Lamar Harris, took a lift to the victim's family home and got into an argument with Rhodes. Court documents say Harris and Cooper were previously in a relationship, and Harris was there to confront her, claiming she had slashed his new girlfriend's tires. Police say Rhodes punched Harris in the face, and that's when Harris pulled out his gun and started shooting.
The guy was a monster. She tried to run and hide along the bushes over there, and I guess he heard or saw her, and that's when he shot and killed her. And he did it and then had an Uber ready for him so he could get out of here and try to vanish. But the cops, they saw him getting into a car and they thought it was weird, so they pulled that car over and stopped the Uber drivers.
The community says they're glad no one else was hurt in this tragedy.
We just prayers to the family.
Lamar Harris is currently in jail, being held on a $750,000 cash bond. He's been charged with second-degree murder and armed criminal action in the death of Rhodes. Connected to Cooper's death, charges connected to Cooper's death were taken under advisement. Now, if you'd like to help the Cooper Rhodes family with expenses, we have information on KSDK.com.
Tonight, the latest shots fired call is turning the light on growing crime concerns in Soulard. Police say last night gunshots rang out and hit cars and windows at an apartment building near Soulard Market. New tonight, Robert Townsend gets reaction from neighborhood residents and leaders.
On Monday afternoon, this parking lot in Soulard was empty, but not so much Sunday night, says neighbor James Marino.
It sounded loud, probably heard 20, 30 rounds.
Police confirm around 11:30 that night, gunfire rang out. James Marino says people in 2 cars were in this parking lot near 8th and Carroll Streets shooting at one another.
They ran to the window, was looking. Then they spud down this road right here and shooting at each other, going out the window, going up the ramp of the expressway.
Officers went to the area and saw bullets hit at least 4 cars, apparently in the parking lot and 2 windows across the street at the Soulard Market Loft apartment building. This boarded up window at Pieces STL Bar is just below Marino's apartment. Marino says for months now, young drivers have gathered at the parking lot and caused problems.
Creating a nuisance, doing donuts, spinning wheels, shooting off guns, and last night it really got out of control.
This is absolutely a problem.
8th Ward Alderwoman Kara Spencer says the city treasurer's office owns this parking lot and must ensure it's safe.
Making sure that the security measures, whether they're cameras, lighting, that they're kept in good working order, that those things are taking place.
People just parking out here in the parking lot. They don't even go in the bar. It's crazy.
Robert Townsend, 5 on your side.
Police tell us they are also looking into about a dozen car break-ins that happened in that same area in a gated parking lot early Sunday morning. If your car was ransacked, you're asked to call St. Louis police. Uncertainty tonight in Gaza. Israel is launching strikes just hours after Hamas said it accepted a ceasefire proposal. People poured into the streets of Rafah celebrating the announcement. Israel says there's no deal yet and far from meeting its essential demands. The Biden administration has been pressing for a ceasefire deal which would free Hamas-held hostages in exchange for Palestinian prisoners and get more aid into Gaza.
We continue to believe that a hostage deal is in the best interests of the Israeli people. It's in the best interest of the Palestinian people. It would bring an immediate ceasefire. It would allow increased movement of humanitarian assistance, and so we're going to continue to work to try to reach one.
And today was Holocaust Remembrance Day. President Biden and Prime Minister Benjamin Netanyahu discussed a shared commitment to honor the 6 million Jews who were systematically murdered. Tomorrow, the president is set to give a speech on combating anti-Semitism. The cicada comeback has begun.
Oh boy.
Providing a smorgasbord for more ominous, creepy crawlers.
They just so happen to opportunistically come across these cicadas and feed upon them.
Tonight, our Verified team untangles a venomous viral claim.
An overnight storm alert as this rough line of storms continues to march toward our area. This is just the first round of severe weather threats this week. What you need to do before heading to bed tonight.
About an hour ago, NASA scrubbed tonight's much-anticipated launch of Boeing Starliner spacecraft. Engineers discovered an issue with a valve on the Atlas V rocket. This was supposed to be the first manned mission of the Starliner and the first time the Atlas V has carried humans. A new launch date has not yet been set. Back here on Earth, the cicada invasion has begun. Viewer Christine Grabish shared this video of some of those red-eyed bugs hanging out on a tree at Forest Hills Country Club in Chesterfield. They don't appear to be too noisy just yet. That's because peak emergence hasn't even started. Millions of them should arrive in the coming weeks and stick around for more than a month. The arrival of the cicadas has dominated headlines and social media. One post on Nextdoor says a byproduct of this massive cicada brood is more venomous snakes. Ann Ulrich set out to verify.
On a Nextdoor page dedicated to the city of Bridgeton in North St. Louis County, this post popped up saying copperheads love to eat cicadas. It says they will be all under the trees and up in the trees to eat as many as they can. Keep your children and pets away from trees and shrubs. Let's verify. Is it true cicadas will lead to an increase in copperhead snakes? And should you take extra precautions when outside? Our sources, Justin Eldon, curator for herpetology at the St. Louis Zoo, and Jeff Brigler, the Missouri Department of Conservation state herpetologist. Our experts say yes, copperheads do eat cicadas, but they don't hunt for them.
Whenever these cicada blooms do occur, they just so happen to opportunistically come across these cicadas and feed upon them.
But will this abundant protein source mean more copperheads than usual?
Your copperheads aren't going to multiply magically because of the cicada bloom.
What about people saying, bring your children and your dogs inside because the copperheads are active?
I don't think we need to be any more cautious than we would typically be just because of the cicada blooms when it comes to etiquette around venomous snakes.
The zoo's herpetologist also said St. Louis City and most surrounding suburbs don't have copperheads. If you head to more rural areas, copperheads like forest habitats, typically with rock outcrops.
Copperheads, just like any snake, they're more scared of you than you are of them. They want nothing to do with people.
We can verify false. This cicada brood will not lead to an increase in copperhead snakes, and you do not need to take extra precautions when you are outside. I'm Ann Allred, 5 on your side.
What can Ann verify for you? You can email her. The address is verify@ksdk.com. Chief Meteorologist Scott Connell joins us now with that weather first forecast as we continue in storm alert tonight, Scott.
We are nothing imminent in St. Louis right now, but it's coming later tonight. Already out into western Missouri, a tornado watch is in effect. Doesn't include us. We've got a couple little spot showers down in southeast Missouri right now. They may drift in as we head towards 1:30, 2 o'clock. But look at that line of storms. Really, there's one line into northwest Missouri, back into north central Kansas. Another is approaching Kansas City now and stretching down north of Tulsa. This part of the line that's north of Tulsa, we've had a tornado confirmed with that. It's done some damage for sure north of Tulsa. And this whole area is going to be pushing off to the east. You see the areas of that purple shading here in western portions of Missouri all the way down into northwest Arkansas, now under a tornado watch. It's not for any of our area, at least not yet, but there will be a watch at some point here later on tonight for early tomorrow morning. Lots of severe thunderstorms. This line producing not only tornadoes, but a lot of wind and heavy rainfall. They've had flash flooding concerns down in Oklahoma as well. And you know how wet the ground is around here. So at least these don't last a terrible amount of time, but we could see another ½ inch to 1.5 inches of rain in some cases. Notice how there's little bulges as we track this out towards 4 or 5 o'clock in the morning. It'll be moving into St. Louis between 4 and 6, into the Metro East between 5 and 7. Out of the area by the time we get to about 8 o'clock tomorrow morning. We think the rest of the day is relatively quiet after that, but the cold front's still not through. So southeast of St. Louis, we may have a pop shower or thunderstorm tomorrow afternoon. And it's not out of the question for one of those to get a little spicy as well. As we go into Wednesday, we'll focus during the day instead of in the middle of the night. So our storm alert overnight tonight, 2 a.m. until 8 a.m. Gary Frank is going to be here. Anthony Slaughter is going to be here. I'm staying for a little while. We're going to make sure we're keeping up with this overnight tonight. Going into tomorrow and into Wednesday, this is the next big threat. Wednesday, level 3 out of 5. Here's the timing on that. You're looking at waves of showers and thunderstorms. If the morning activity gets going and produces heavy rain and maybe some hail, that could limit how intense the afternoon activity gets. That all remains to be seen. The ingredients in general look more favorable here on Wednesday for there to be more widespread wind damage and the potential for problems with tornadoes and hail as well. Don't think we'll have much in the way of hail for overnight tonight. But your Wednesday, here it is. It's that afternoon time frame from noon until 8 o'clock where we're going to be on heightened alert with our storm alert for Wednesday afternoon. After that, there is some good news in the extended forecast. Even though we have temperatures that cool back a little below average as we head towards the beginning of Mother's Day weekend, it looks relatively quiet compared to what we've been through the last month and a half or so. But tonight, 2 a.m. till 8 a.m., storm alert for that time, and then we'll have another storm alert as we go into Wednesday.
You guys on the Weather Center could use some quiet time.
Yeah, we want it.
Yeah. Scott, thanks. Frank is here with sports.
Mike, can the Cardinals score more than 3 runs in a game? Can our St. Louis kids win in the NHL playoffs? And you are going to hear from Mike Jones and Coach Drinkwitz when we come back.
This 5 on Your Side Sports Report is sponsored by Telly Tire and Auto Centers, driving your way since 1942.
The only thing you really need to know about this baseball team right now is this. The Cardinals are on pace to win 69 games. The Mets put them on that pace tonight. It seems like we show you Wilson Contreras every night. This double scored Jose Fermin that shaved the Mets lead to 3-1 in the 6th inning. And in the same inning, Ivan Herrera will smash one to the gap. It will score Paul Goldschmidt and Contreras, and we are tied at 3. Now, Andrew Kittredge has been nearly perfect until here. Brandon Nimmo, solo shot, 4-3 Mets. And we know the Cardinals don't score more than 3 runs a night. They didn't tonight. Mets win it, the final, 4-3.
To think that expectations for this group inside of these walls have changed, that'd be ridiculous. We know we have a really good team. We know that we haven't played how we want to play. We're not where we want to be right now, where we thought we were going to be. But to think that anything's changed with 120 games left in the season, whatever it is, that's not where this group's at.
Panthers hosting the Bruins. Game 1 tonight, a heavy St. Louis flavor, including Matthew Tkachuk, the pride of Chaminade. That goal gave the Panthers a 1-0 lead in the second. But the Bruins will soar back. Trent Frederick from DeSmet. The good hustle play. Charlie Coyle to Brandon Crawford. Bruins win 5-1. If you had to bet on the short-term and long-term success of a sports team in the region, I think you'd have to bet on Mizzou football. Coach Drink has a loaded team. He has a loaded NIL fund and a schedule loaded for success, especially early. A really cool event last night at the downtown MAC that brought Coach Drink to town. It was the 33rd annual Scholar Athlete Banquet put on by the National Football Foundation, Tom Lombardo's St. Louis chapter. In addition to the high school kids, sportscaster Bob Ramsey on the left and Coach Drink were honored. Perhaps what Drink has done best is to adapt quickly to the craze of college sports. Name, image, and likeness.
Yeah, it's the name of the game now and how you have to try to compete. So it's one of those things that instead of you complaining about it, you find a way to utilize it as one of your strengths. And obviously we owe a lot of thanks to the state legislature and being able to pass a law that's so proactive and thankful for our fans. They've really responded in the right way to help us be very competitive.
Demetrius Johnson passed away about a year and a half ago, but his presence continues. We went out to Cardinal Ritter High School on Saturday morning for his historically black college and university's football camp. It gave more than 200 kids a chance to learn the game and impress college coaches. Jimmy Collins and Mike Jones now run the camp.
Well, you know what, DJ Spirit is with us. I mean, DJ is all about the community, about making sure these kids in St. Louis and all over get an opportunity. So, his body may not be with us, but his spirit most definitely is.
What a milestone over the weekend for St. Louis University baseball coach Darren Hendrickson. He won his 1,000th game as a head coach. The Granite City native has won big at every level. Junior college, Division III, Division II, and Division I at SLU. And after 27 years, he hasn't lost his passion.
Tony La Russa used to say, I'm tied for first in competitiveness as I was back then too, still. But the fire hasn't lost. I haven't lost the fire at all. I have a great desire to win. I was taught to respect the uniform. When you put it on, go out and try to win the game, and I'm still there. So if I ever lose that, I need to get out of this. But no difference than when it was.
And he's having another great season this year, and that'll do it in sports.
All right, Frank, thanks. You're going to want to be on alert overnight. Scott will have the latest timing on the severe storms that are moving our way.
Hey everyone, Michelle Lee here. What should change inside and outside of the classroom? That is what the St. Louis Public School District wants to know. We're going to tell you the topics that'll be tackled in its last Listen and Learn session. Plus, more drones are now taking to the sky. We're going to show you how the high tech is being used by some of the St. Charles County first responders to help you stay safe. That's tomorrow on Today in St. Louis at 6 a.m.
You need to be weather aware tonight. Scott has a final check of the storms moving in overnight.
Yeah, let's make sure our phones are charged up overnight tonight and those notifications are on. Here's why. Your line of thunderstorms, it's advancing across eastern parts of Kansas, northeastern portions of Oklahoma. It is headed towards St. Louis. It's going to take a little bit to get here, but after 2 a.m. through 8 a.m., we have a weather first storm alert for you. We'll be monitoring and tracking those storms on 5+. as well as KSDK.com. You can check the radar anytime on the 5 on Your Side app and have those notifications turned on. Winds could gust with some of these thunderstorms 60 to 70 miles per hour, and there may be a brief spin up early on at the leading edge of some of these storms. We have another round we expect on Wednesday. That'll be pushing through with yet a greater potential of more widespread wind damage, along with hail and tornadoes. Then after that, we finally settle down just a little bit. So a couple of really active days across the bi-state area.
And Wednesday looks a little scary.
Wednesday actually looks more impressive from a severe weather standpoint than what we're looking at.
You said level
tomorrow.
3 out of 5.
Yeah.
All right, Scott, remember you can get the latest weather first forecast anytime on KSDK.com and the 5 on Your Side app and streaming on 5+. You can also text the word weather to 314-425-5355 and we'll send the forecast to your phone. Meteorologist Anthony Slaughter and the Today in St. Louis team will be live on air beginning at 4 a.m. And there you have it, 5 on Your Side at 10. The Tonight Show starring Jimmy Fallon is next.